He calls Brighton, England his home, and he's incredible live. So please welcome and make some noise for Passenger.
Hello, everyone. What a lovely little event this is. Yes, my name is Mike, or Passenger, and I'm going to play my favourite song on my new record, and it's called The Long Road, and it is the most depressing song you will ever hear. And, all right. Where you've walked the long road and you've worn it well. You stitched yourself up when you fell. Keep your memories in jars, carry secrets and scars beneath your shell. Well, you've seen some good days and some bad ones too. Weave through fashion and trend. You've seen the sunrise on an ocean blue and seen it set for the dearest of friends. You found faith but you chose to doubt it. You found love but you left without it. Now you don't want to talk about it. Yeah, you travel down through foreign lands, touch mountain tops and golden sands, seen pyramids and temples made of stone. Keep seashells in a cashmere scarf, a treasured book of photographs. In every single one you stand alone. You've seen Vienna and the Berlin Wall, and as you watch the decades fall, the letters that you wrote never made it home. And birthdays flew past like June, with Christmas days in hotel rooms, and New Year's Eve with people you don't know. You built friendships, but they sailed without you. You never meant it, and that's why they doubt you. Now they don't ever talk about you. And now you're older than you used to be. The mirror weaves a tapestry of lines that dance and shimmer round your eyes as you stare back at a man forever holding out his hand, as if the answer is gonna fall out of the sky. But the penny never dropped, and no man has ever stopped time from flying by. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thanks a lot. I did tell you it was sad. Sorry about that. Thank you so much. So yeah, I have this new record coming out in September, in about a month's time, I think, and it's called Young as the Morning, Old as the Sea, which is the longest record title in history, and I would love to play you the title track, and it goes like this. I wanna lay by lake in Norway, I wanna walk through Swedish fields of green. I wanna see the forests of Finland. I wanna sail on a boat on the Baltic Sea. I wanna feel the Russian winter. I wanna go to my Polish grandmother's home. I wanna see Hungarian lanterns. I wanna walk on a road that leads to Rome. I wanna be free as the winds that blow past me, clear as the air that I breathe, to be young as the morning and old as the sea. I wanna lose myself in the Scottish Highlands, the west coast of Ireland, the Cornish breeze. I wanna rest my bones in the Spanish sunshine. The Italian coastline is calling me to be free as the birds that fly past me, light as the fish in the sea, to be wise as the mountains, tall as the trees. Yeah, I wanna be sunny and bright as the sunrise, happy and full as the moon, but I'm fleeting like fireworks, fading too soon. Thank you very much.
Hey, Michael, good to see you, man.
Lovely to see you, mate. How are you?
Great seeing you again. You know, the first time I saw you perform across country, you came to my show and you did Table for One, and it was such a beautiful, emotional song I never forgot. So I was so happy to see when things started to really break through for you. It's very interesting that, you know, your background is, your dad is from Jersey, you know, from Vineland, you know, and...
Yep.
But let's get it more into the fact that, you know, you kind of knew what you wanted to do. You quit school at 16 years old.
Yeah.
And you started busking. And for those of you, I'm sure a lot of you know what busking is, but if you don't, it's like just kind of going out and playing guitar with an open guitar case where you throw, you know, money in that. And it's like you went everywhere from like England to Australia. Tell me about that journey.
Yeah, dropping out of school at 16, my mum was delighted at that decision. She was fully behind it. Easiest conversation of my life. But yeah, you know, I think for me, I felt like I was just kind of wasting my time at school. I wasn't working very hard, and I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to play music, and it was the only thing that I felt like I was really not good at, but just really, really felt, you know. So yeah, I left school and worked a few different jobs whilst I was, you know, playing around town and playing little open mic nights and stuff. And busking became this thing where I realised that actually, you know, it's scary, you know, it's daunting to go out on the street and just bring a guitar and play your songs to strangers, but it's actually a real buzz as well, and it's a great way for me as a young musician to get my music out to people, you know, without a record label or any kind of backing behind it, you know.
Were you selling? Did you make CDs, like your homemade CDs you were selling? While you
Yeah,
traveled?
yeah. I mean, by the time, I've always busked, but really, I was like 23-ish when I started busking properly, you know.
Yeah.
And properly, I don't know what that means, but yeah, I was selling CDs. It was a little CD that I made in a friend's bedroom, basically, in a few days. I didn't have any money to make a proper one, so yeah, but it's great. I mean, it's not the sort of most sonically brilliant album in the world, but that album, I've sold about, I think we worked out about 20,000 copies of that album through the time I was busking, and that funded everything else. That funded all the other records and all the other touring. And if it wasn't for that little CD, it would be very different.
Yeah, there's a beauty in that. There's just being able to use your music to get to one place to another.
Yeah.
How did you end up in Australia? Like, was that part of it too? And like, so that must have been interesting to go literally from the UK to Australia. You tell me a little bit more about that. Like, how did that happen? And was there any period where you were like, man, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Am I in fear, or am I going to keep on going? And this is just part of my journey. This is great. Tell me.
Yeah. Australia basically happened because they kicked me out of England, and no, they didn't. No, but I did a summer of busking in England, and I was loving it, and I wanted to carry on. But as you may be aware, England hasn't got the most tropical climate, and so yeah, it got to sort of October time, and it was getting really cold, and my fingers were freezing off in the street, and I thought, where can I go that's going to get this kind of music, that's going to kind of be a really good next step? And Australia just seemed to be the obvious choice. It was going to be warm when England was cold.
Yeah.
And so for the next 2 or 3 years, I sort of did 6 months in Europe, and then when it got cold, I went down to Australia. And it was a good way of life, I have to be honest. Yeah.
And were you by yourself when you were doing that? Like, were you just literally going by yourself?
A lot of the time, yeah. I mean, early on, I was very much by myself. Yeah, I mean, my manager would send me out more CDs if I needed them, and would book my hostels and whatever. But yeah, it was an amazing sense of freedom, actually. I remember some mornings just getting up and looking at the map and figuring out where I was going to go that morning, and just jumping on a train. And it was brilliant, not just for playing, but for writing and for the whole experience. Just it was really living,
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I think it's great. And so, do you still call Brighton your home? Are you still based out of when you get home? Because I know you're on the road all the time. But are you living in Brighton still?
I do, yeah. I don't know if any of you guys have been to the UK. Anyone? Yeah.
Brighton's a beach town where the Who's Quadrophenia was based.
That's
and
right.
There's a lot of romantic folklore about that. Songs like Brighton Rock by Queen to, Welcome to the Pleasure Dome used to be over the pier.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like they're just, before it burned, that one burned down, right? Or something, or they knocked it down.
There was one pier that burnt down, which I never understood. How can something in the sea burn down? But cleverer people than me have figured that out. But,
and one last question, too, I wanted to ask you, Michael. For those folks that love your songs, who inspired you? Who did you love musically? What was the thing that made you want to pick up the guitar? What artists moved you in your life?
So yeah, you mentioned my dad is from New Jersey originally, so he sort of brought me up on a lot of Springsteen and Simon and Garfunkel and people like that. And I think if I had to choose one, it would be Paul Simon. I think just the way we used to listen to Simon and Garfunkel live in Central Park for every car journey when I was small, and I'd sort of scream if it didn't happen. So
that's great.
Yeah, so we that cassette tape just sort of got worn out steadily, and I just, when you're a kid and music just hits you like magic, you don't understand how it's made, you don't know who it is that's making it, and you don't understand many of the lyrics either. Yeah. But I remember Paul Simon always felt like magic to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way it makes you feel. And
exactly. And then as you get older, you kind of get more cynical about it, especially when you start making records and you do music for a living. You start to, I don't know, listen to music in a different way. And as a kid, you don't analyze it, you just feel it. And I think that's an amazing feeling.
And you're a sponge, you know what I mean? It's like a blueprint, that's left with you. So listen, Michael, thank you so much for coming in. And I'd love you to do another song for us right now, for our KFOG listeners.
Of course, yeah. I'll play the new single, if that's okay. And Somebody's Love, exactly.
Oh, when the winds they blow, you're gonna need somebody to know you. You're gonna need somebody's love to fall into. Oh, when the leaves they fall, you're gonna need somebody to call you. You're gonna need somebody's arms to crawl into. To crawl into. Go and get yourself lost like you always do. Sail into the blue with nobody next to you. Ah, but when you wanna get yourself found, there'll be no one around. You sink without a sound, you know it's true. Oh, when the winds they blow, you're gonna need somebody to know you. You're gonna need somebody's love to fall into. Oh, when the leaves they fall, you're gonna need somebody to call you. You're gonna need somebody's arms to crawl into. For what you're saying is true. You ain't no fool, you ain't no liar. You're never gonna get yourself burned if you don't start no fires. But with no fire there is no light. With no light you'll never see all the colors in the world and all the love that's inside me. When the winds they blow, you're gonna need somebody to know. You're gonna need somebody's love to fall into. And oh, when the leaves they fall, you're gonna need somebody to call. You're gonna need somebody's arms to crawl into. To crawl into.
Thanks so much for listening, guys. Thank you.